Hello and welcome to World Tanks with me, Jet the Ripper. In this video I'll be looking at the new AMX Chaffee, giving you my thoughts on it, which it's pretty unanimous what my thoughts on it are, and you'll see why.
Let's go.
As the man said, let's get on with this. So, a lot of people have probably been looking at this tank. I'm aware you can get this as a package on its own, or you can get it with a package with the T95E2 and the MTLS, the little monster down at Tier 3. I don't know if I'll do a video on that Tier 3 because there isn't much to do a video on. It destroys pretty much everything in one clip. I don't think I need to say any more on the matter. Now, as you'll see from my equipment loadout of binoculars and camera net, I run this very much as a passive scout. And hopefully you'll see in these videos why I think that. Now, I think I forgot to record some of one of my games. In said game, I actually managed to get an Object 140 within 75 meters of me, and he still hadn't spotted me. Now, admittedly, I do have quite a good crew. You see, damage already starting to take in. Half that STB-1's health is just gone, and it's all gone straight to me. Now, a large amount of this video will be me sitting in a bush, and I'm afraid I'm hoping I can make it a little bit more interesting, but it's not going to... I ain't MTV. I ain't gonna kind of bring some random thing that's gonna make this suddenly more interesting when it's actually a pile of rubbish. But you'll see, I'm getting quite a lot of spots in now. One thing you will have to, right? I'm not going to do a garage talk with this, so I will do a large amount of it in game because, as I say, I'm aware there isn't a lot to talk about. Sorry, a lot to see when I'm sat in a bush, or just behind a bush in this case. So. You'll see the gun elevation. That's one of the things with these, I believe they're called an oscillating turret. I may be wrong on that, but not sure. And you don't have a particularly good gun elevation. The gun depression on this tank is quite good. I'll have to double check. I think it's about 8 degrees, might be 10, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can see there I'm actually pure coincidence. And it does cause issues where if you're in a good spot like this and you're looking into the side, and the only tank I can get a shot on here is this guy here. This is no game. And oh, he's been tracked. I'm going for it. But yeah, you see the moment you get spotted in this tank, that shot though. This is no game. I really hope you're watching it and you can see how lucky that shot was. But yeah, the moment you get spotted, hightail it out of there, drive erratically, all that sort of artillery safe stuff. If you're looking at buying a light tank for a premium, hopefully you know this, and hopefully you've driven the Chaffee, because all this is a Chaffee with an auto-loading gun. But you'll see here, yet again, what I was on about before. That gun elevation really starts to let you down in these sort of situations where you just kind of can't get the gun up enough. Now, that's practice, by the way, what you saw there. If you have the designated target perk, which is what you'll want on a light tank, if you lock onto targets, they stay spotted for longer. Now, a lot of people think it's just looking at them, but as far as I'm aware, you have to be locked on. So it's worth getting into the habit of, on your light tank crews, or even some of your medium crews, if you're going to use it as a scout, because remember, a scout is a role, not a class. Now, it's worth getting into the habit. So yeah, you'll see here even more so. I mean, I spend a large portion of, well, not a large portion, but some of this game trying to get myself into a good position where I can actually take shots. Because you see that, I mean, that's a Leopard 1. I've got 144mm pen. That tank's easily pennable. But I just can't get the gun up. And you see there, I'm wriggling and moving, and spoiler alert, I ain't going to shoot that Leopard 1 like that. But if you see already, I've got 11 spotting ribbons, sorry. And it's worth pointing out, one of the main things I do keep the ribbons on. And I've seen quite a few people who don't like them and get rid of them. Now, don't look at them religiously. I think that would be a very, very silly thing to do. You can see my teammates there. But it is good. It gives you a good idea of how well you're doing. I do try and be as selfless as possible on World of Tanks. There isn't really much for me to... You know, if I lose out on a couple hundred XP here and there, I don't care. So, but I do like to keep a level of play going. You know, if if I'm having a bad game and I've got the choice between letting my friend get a kill or me getting it, well, I'm getting the kill. You know, if he gets there first, so be it, but I'm getting the kill if I get there first. So, by keeping an eye on the ribbons... Oh, see, there's a nice 900 damage spotting assist. If I keep an eye on the ribbons, I know roughly how well I'm doing. I've got a piece of T-54 footage. I might do a video of it on its own, where... Oh yeah, this is another thing. Watch... Now, yes, I'm in a bush. Yes, I've got camo net. Watch view range. The odds, when you fire your gun... Admittedly, I don't think I had green thumb on this, or suppressed shot. So when I fire, I don't get any of the camouflage bonuses kept. Which means you lose a very, very large amount of your camo bonus. So if you... See, at 400 metres... Now, T-57 has a 400 metre view range. If he's got coated optics on, that means he can potentially have an extra 10%, which is 440. But obviously, I still maintain a certain amount of camo bonus. I think it's about 10% when you fire. Might be a bit more, I'm not 100% sure. But the point is, by knowing he's at 420, that should be enough. 412, it's risky. I'm probably not, I wouldn't pen a Jagdtiger there anyway. But watch the ranges. And this passive is not for everyone, but the end of the game is where you can really come to life. You'll see here, I basically spend this game moving bush to bush. And you see that? Now, unfortunately, I wish I had moved a bit closer, but yet again, that this is a very good gun on this tank. I think it's a shame I didn't get the kill on that guy. Now, I realistically was being a bit dangerous by driving straight there. In future, I probably would think about not doing that. Now, one thing I do, I reload a lot. The moment I have a chance, I will reload. And you'll see in a lot of the footage I recorded for this, and I think you'll probably see it several times in the games that I've got, that I basically regret doing that. If you can empty your clip, try and be aware of the situation. I'm quite new to autoloaders, and so I didn't do a particularly good job in this game. Now here I am actually taking a risk, because if you look on the map, you'll see that there's a light tank spotted. One last shot, and there is an Orlix medal, and I'll tell you what an Orlix medal is afterwards. And we move on to the post-battle results screen. I'm only going to do the one view, which is this one. There is really no need for the other ones. The 4,884 spotting damage, which is incredible on a tier 6 light tank. That really doesn't get shown very well in the next screen, and all you'll see is a large amount of XP and 483 damage, which I'm sure confused a lot of people until they actually looked into the details. So, Orlix medal. Now this is particularly impressive considering I did 7 penetrations and 483 damage, that's very, very low. Now I only detected 3 tanks, yet I got as much assisting damage as I did, because although I didn't always get the first spot on people, I kept them spotted, which is a very useful thing. Obviously 0 blocked by armor, you wouldn't expect it to, but Orlix medal is destroying 3 or more enemy tanks with a light tank, and they have to be 2 tiers higher. Now I killed the AMX 5100, which is a tier 8, then I killed the M46 Patton, which is a tier 9, and at the very end I killed the T30, which is again a tier 9. So realistically I actually killed 2 that are 3 tiers above. So that just shows, even for a tier 6 tank, this tank is more than capable of getting kills when it has to. Now let's move on to the next one. And again, we're jumping into Prokhorovka. With this, I've got to say, it's just, this is, I think, has gone up there with the 7-1 and the Jagdtiger being my favourite tanks. This has definitely gone and joined them. And hopefully I'll be able to provide you more videos of it in the future. But yet again, for now, you'll see I've got a favourite position of mine now, which is going down this left flank. The left flank is often very important in this game, but not in a sense of it's where all the fighting happens, because it's almost quite the opposite. Now, the dispersion in this game is actually rather good, but the number of times, I'm sure you've all had it as well, where you see all the tank destroyers going and sitting back in either the JK1 sort of area or the AB12 area, and they just sit there, and it's frustrating as you watch as no one moves forward. And the game is decided by basically which side gets the best shots at the other person's team from those positions. See there, that's an issue you'll have with the E2. If the T95 E2 doesn't have a lot of armor, but I'll get onto that in its own review. You see, yet again, the moment I get spotted, I'm running away. Light tanks in general are not designed to take hits. So the moment you get spotted, you need to get yourself out of fire. Now, there are both artillery and people firing at me, so don't drive in a straight line. You just need to not drive in a straight line. But you'll see what I'm doing every time is I'm going to be heading for a bush. I'm going to be heading for some form of foliage or cover. I'm going to be getting my binocs and camo net up. I'm going to see if I'm spotting anything. Now, a lot of these tanks have not too dissimilar view ranges to me, but my camo and binocs are going to mean that I'm not going to get spotted, but I'm also more likely to spot than these people ahead of me. I also have recon and situational awareness on the crew that I'm using in this tank, so my view range will be my spotting range, should I say, will be as close to 445 meters as is possible. And I changed what I said there because of the fact that I intend on doing a video as soon as I can, because I need to work out exactly how I'm going to do it. Where again, this thing on the move, like the Chaffee, just can be incredible. But yeah, where I'm going to be trying to explain the difference between, or fully explaining, not the difference between, because they're not the same, so there shouldn't be any people who believe that. But spotting range, view range, and camo, they are all very much interlinked in an important way. And I think a lot of people really still don't understand it even now. That shot was unlucky. You'd think, though, apparently not. I was going to say, hopefully you'd expect people to get hit. Now, that guy in front of me was spotting, so it means I was not getting any spotting assists. But you'll see one of the things slightly different from last time is whereas I was going slightly further forward, getting in that bush just up ahead of me to get the spots in, here I'm actually getting quite good side shots, and so I will be more interested in trying to position. Now, this is one of the things you've got to do with judging your fly time or velocity, or however you want to try and look at it. But the time in the shell is going to spend in the air before it gets to the target. And the gun on this has actually got a relatively high velocity. At these sort of ranges, I can afford to take that sort of shot. That's ambitious. But you see, the fly time on these is not that bad. It's better than a lot of guns. I mean, if you take something like the gun on the ball ticket, and you see, while I wasn't even paying attention, I've spotted that guy. That Tiger 2 was closer, yet look, I am the one getting the spotting assists, because I am the one spotting him. And he's dead, and so, well, without even paying attention to him, I have just got all the damage, or well, all the health of a tortoise. Spotting is a very, very useful thing to do for your team, and quite frankly, scouts, as a general rule, are probably the most unselfish players, ironically having to play in quite a selfish style. You'll see, I'm not going to go to anyone's aid in this game. You can't in the light tanks, because they will focus on you and they will kill you. Now, under certain situations, yes, you can definitely justify exactly that. If you're in a situation where if you're dead, so what? But if that other tank who you can essentially protect, if he dies, and it's important, then go for it. Again, that ability to fire while unaimed, that RNG, and there is a tier 8 artillery dead. Now you see, as usual, I'm going again. It's two games, two relatively similar positions, but I'm getting a lot more damage in this game. And you see, again, the same sort of positions can be used, but for a completely different effect. Whereas before there were people on the bridge, well, so not really a bridge, is it? The crossing, and down at the top corner. This time there are people to the right, and also we managed to spot the artillery. Again, those fully unaimed shots. And you'll see again, this is my tendency to reload the moment I can. Now, it does mean that I will miss out on damage. There was another game I was tempted to use where I missed out on damage. Like here, if I hadn't reloaded, I could have put shots into him. And turns out I was being a bit risky staying there to see if I could get a shot on him because of that tortoise. But I'd rather be in a situation where I've lost out on doing a bit of damage now to be able to do more damage later, or to be able to defend myself better. As I said, I have set this up as a passive scout, but I have played alongside, and it makes a great pairing, actually. If you have two of you with these tanks, or just one of you with another light tank, I mean, another Chaffee, an AMX 12T will have similar matchmaking, 1375, even a 1390. And one of you plays as a passive, and one of you plays as an aggressive. And if you're here playing the passive, it means you can sit in the roles, you can keep people spotted, but it takes patience, and not everyone has that patience. And you know, I'm not going to say it takes the patience of a saint, because if you're enjoying the game, I mean, one of the things I do like about playing a passive scout is you can just sit back a little bit. I mean, you're obviously paying attention, but you know, I can pick up my phone, go on Twitter on one hand, or Facebook, or whatever, and just, you know, kind of do that whilst I'm sitting there waiting. But it also takes balls of steel. The number of times, and I'll see if I can find the clip, because I think I don't have it. But if I can, of the clip where an Object 140 gets within 75 meters of me, and it's something you often have to put up with, because especially in games like World of Tanks, it's instinctive to fire. You'll see earlier on when the T95E2 spotted me, I fired. But you'll see that the important thing is that I waited until... Now here I get risky, and you can hear by the fact that I spam the button rather than, you know, waiting to press it. Interesting name. Anyway, it's often worth trying to know the difference in timing between when you should fire. If you know you're going to get spotted, then I can understand firing. But with light tanks, you often don't know. I mean, also, this is another thing. No damage taken. I just dropped several meters through the air, no damage taken. The suspension on this thing is incredible. I don't know if that's going to last, because the Chaffee isn't that good. I would love to see the soft stats, because this thing often performs better than a Chaffee. Go up here, and I get 2 shots into him, and then that's this game done. And I'll talk more later. And as we move on to the battle results screen, you'll see first class mastery badge, which is always nice. But when we go on to the next screen, you'll see the amount of XP I made. I know it says 13,000, but look at how many ops I completed in that one game. You'll see, actually, it's more XP in this game than in the last game, which shows just how good of a tank this is, that within 2 days of being out, the requirement for an ace tanker has gone up by at least 400 XP or so, which, in my opinion, really shows the quality of this tank. But anyway, let's break it down. And as you see, I got 18 spotting ribbons for 2,400 assisted, which is not too bad. I mean, when you average it out, that means I did get several hundred, geez, well, no. Several, you know, 200 or 100 damage ribbons, which is not great. Considering I know, and when I consider that I actually did see some 500 damage ones, I know some of them must have been quite low damage ones. But that could be someone got set on fire, and that would simply explain that sort of thing. The 16 penetrations, 1,800 damage. See, this is what I mean by this game's a much more damage-based game. 3 tanks destroyed again. Didn't get an All-X medal because one of them was a Hummel, if I remember correctly. But I think this shows, yet again, just the capability of this tank. And if we look at the final results screen, you'll see I got 1,707 base XP, and that was what I was talking about before. That, compared to the about 1,400 or so in the previous one. The 1,400, I think it was 1,350 or something like that. But that was enough for a ace tanker, whereas this was only going for a first class. Now, 1,800 damage. Now, I'm in a tier 6 light tank, and this was a tier 9 game. Obviously, this is no offense meant to anyone who I'm about to name. Sorry, I'm not going to name them, but I'm just going to go through and match tanks to damage. So you've got the T95E2. He's done less damage than me. A Jag Tiger, a Tiger 2. A Foch has only done 100 and something more. The 5355, that's a gun that in one hit can do more damage than I can do total. Than I did, sorry, shall I say. My platoon mates in the IS-8 and the WZ-131, who were unlucky enough again to not be able to do that much damage. And this tank has got quite good damage potential, but I would argue more so at the end of the match. It also helps that the damage I did was to mostly higher tier vehicles, and you will get a nice little XP boost from this. So as you can see, I think I've made it clear throughout this, my opinion on this tank is pretty decisive in that it's a great tank and it's completely worth it. It's also worth pointing out that the crew I'm running in this is my American crew. This is I run the crew from my M48 Pan. So this is another T-3488. This is a French tank on paper that cannot run an American crew. I'm not too bothered about the American crew part. It's nice putting a really good crew in it, but eventually when I start not bothering and concentrating more on my French tanks, I will be running a French crew in it because I want to grind French crews on it. But if I want to have it used for fun, then yeah, I'll switch back to running an American crew, because my American crew, I have like 3 spare American crews with like 8 perks, and I still don't know why. I think when things like the things like my, it's called a Ripper now, but is it the M2A3E4 or whatever it is, and T14 and Ram 2 and all these sort of things, when they finally got given crews, I think I suddenly got stuck with a large number of crews that had 3 or 4 perks on them. And then I've used them from time to time in my premium tanks or in some of my tanks which I no longer actually have the rest of that line, where I've stopped, moved on. Anyhow, as you'll see in this video, I've not done any garage talk because this tank doesn't need it. It's a light tank. Don't get shot. That's pretty much all I have to say on that, man. It's fast. It's got great ground resistance, and I don't know of anyone who's got it who doesn't thoroughly enjoy it. It's worth pointing out that there was 4 AMX Chaffies in this game, and all 3 that weren't me played active scout roles, and they were pushing ridge lines, they were charging forward and trying to get spots. Yeah, I'm the one who's at the top of the leaderboard, not them. And not passive scouting is not for everyone, but it's fun at the end of the game, and if you're willing to wait that long, I think it's totally worth it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned potentially from it, maybe some scouting little positions. That one on the left is very useful if you've got a pair of binocs and a camo net, and I hope this allows you to make a decision on whether or not you want the AMX Chaffee, and I'll see you all on the battlefield.